Hello, this is Martha from the Tutoring Center once again. This is a continuation of Calc 1 final review, and problems 7 and 8 deal with implicit differentiation. Just as a quick reminder, oftentimes when we have two things, x and y, two variables that are a function of another, with implicit differentiation, when we take with respect to y, we need to remember to take the derivative and multiply it by y prime. For example, if we have y squared and we are doing implicit differentiation, right? The derivative then becomes 2y times y prime. Now this question reads, the position of a particle at time t is given by s. Find the velocity of the function. So we're given the position, which is s of t. The velocity is the first derivative. So we need to take our equation and take the first derivative of that. The equation is s cubed minus 4st plus 2t cubed minus 5t all equals 0. So let's start off. We've got s cubed. The derivative of that is 3s squared. And then we need to remember that this is s prime included as well. Now, the second term is minus 4st. And we've got to remember that we've got a product rule right here, minus 4s and t. So if we take the derivative of the first term times the derivative of the second, that would be minus 4s, and the derivative of t is 1. Then we take the second term, which is t, and multiply it by the derivative of the first, which is minus 4ts prime. S prime. Continuing on, we take the derivative of 2t cubed. That becomes 6t squared, and the derivative of 5t is minus 5 because it's minus 5t, all equals 0. What we do next is we keep our s prime terms on one side and move everything else over to the other. So on this side, on the left side, we have 3s squared and s prime minus 4t s prime. And then on the other side, we're going to add 4s, subtract 6t squared, and then add 5. On the left hand, we can factor out this s prime, and we're left with s prime times 3s squared minus 4t equaling 4s minus 6t squared plus 5. Now we're almost to solving for s prime. The last thing that we need to do is divide by the quantity 3s squared minus 4t. So our final answer is that s prime, or the velocity function, equals 4s minus 6t squared plus 5 all over 3s squared minus 4t. And that is our final answer. Now question 8 also deals with implicit differentiation. The directions read, assume that x and y are functions of t. We need to evaluate for dy dt. So that's what we're looking for. We want dy dt. For the equation 4x times e to the y equals 5 plus 12 ln x. And we're given some additional information. We're given that dx dt equals 8, x equals 2, and y equals 0. So I'm going to make a reference box on the left-hand side just to help me keep my information straight. dx dt equals 8, x equals 2, y equals 0. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to differentiate with respect to t. And on the left-hand side, we have a product rule right off the bat. So what we do is we take the derivative of the first, 4x, times the derivative of the second term, which is e to the y, dy dt. And then we add it with the derivative of the first, which is 4 dx dt, and then times the second term, e to the y. Now, then we move to the right-hand side of the equation. 5 is a constant, and so the derivative is 0. And 12 ln of x, if we take the derivative of that, that becomes 12 times 1 over x dx dt. So we're actually pretty close at this point. We're going to fill in what we know. Wherever there's a dx dt, we're going to put in 8 in here. Wherever there's a y, we put in 0. And wherever there's an x, we put in 2. So rewriting everything, we have 4 times 2 e to the 0 dy dt plus 4 times 8 e to the 0 equals 12 divided by 2 times 8. And already we've got numbers in everywhere else, and we just need to solve for this dy dt. It's just some simple algebra. E to the 0 is 1, so we can do that. 4 times 2 is 8, so we have 8 dy dt. And then 4 times 8 is 32, so we have plus 32, equals 12 divided by 2 is 6, times 8 is 48. We subtract 32 from both sides, and moving to the left, or moving to the right, we have that 8 dy over dt equals 16. If we divide each side by 8, we have that dy over dt, because we're told to evaluate for that, equals 2. All right, let's keep going.